Good evening from the UK and welcome to Open Minds live chat show. Yes, we are 2 hours late. However, that's life, but we're here now. So I have a wonderful returning guest this evening, the lovely Mohamed Ibrahim, all the way from Egypt. And tonight, Mohamed is going to give us a new introduction to the ancient Egyptian history. And it's going to blow our minds because Mohamed said it is, so it will. Welcome back, Mohamed.
Hi, Gloria. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm really excited about what you're going to say because, as you know, I have an absolute love for anything Egyptian. Anything Egyptian. So
You are not the only one.
I
Welcome
know.
to the club.
Welcome to the club. It's like people have certain clubs like the golf club and this club and that club, AA club, and mine is the Egyptian club. And I just love hearing anything Egyptian, anything Egyptian. So on that note, Mohammed, and I do hope somewhere along the line you'll give me a bit more info about the man the pharaoh that I absolutely adore, which is Akhenaten. At some point, anything you know on him, please share. I've only learnt things from the internet, obviously, but you're the man on the spot. So if you can later on, but to kick us off, go with your new introduction to the ancient Egyptian history.
First, let me tell you one of my wishes, and inshallah, I believe it will be true in the near future. I am planning to do either TV series or books. All of them will have the name New Introduction. So it will be new introduction to the Egyptian religion, new introduction to the pyramids. It will be labeled under this title, New Introduction. Because
Wonderful.
I feel that we have to put the Egyptian civilization in a new frame. The old frame is so tight, and it doesn't allow us to find the truth about ancient Egypt, and it makes us to care only about the first layer of the Egyptian civilization. And I can tell you there are hundreds, if not thousands, of layers. We need to dig deep to find the truth and the beauty of the ancient Egyptian civilization.
Okay.
One of the very interesting subjects is the new introduction to the Egyptian history. We all studied as Egyptologists or in the academic field in the Egyptian history that the Egyptian history started about 3,200 BC. So this is the basic information any Egyptology student is going to study that the Egyptian history started 3,200 BC. What happened at 3,200 BC? They say that this is the time of the first dynasty. Who was the ruler of the first dynasty? King Narmer. He was the king of the south because they say that Egypt was divided into two kingdoms, one at the north, one at the south. We call it Lower Egypt, north, Upper Egypt, south. It seemed that there was so many rulers were trying to unify the country. Some succeeded, some not, but the final battle, and don't take my story as the true story, but this is what we studied, okay? Because later you will discover that there are so many weak points in the story.
Yes, yeah.
So the final battle was made by King Narmer, king of the south, and from that time Egypt became one kingdom, one united country, 3,200 BC. For how long this civilization lasted? For almost 3,000 years. So the first pharaoh, or the first, and I'm sorry to say the word pharaoh, which is not correct. We shall not call the Egyptian civilization the pharaonic civilization. No, it must be, we must say the ancient Egyptian civilization. Okay. Because the word pharaoh is for a certain time, certain rulers, okay? So the first ruler, 3,200 BC, and the last one was almost 130 BC, and then the Persian invasion and the Macedonian or the Greek invasion to Egypt. Okay, that is the basic information. But later, or that was the information for at least 100 years, from let's say 1820, 1830 till 1920, 1930. And then a group of archaeologists, not Egyptologists, a group of archaeologists, they started to find so many sites, ancient sites and objects. And these sites and objects, from their opinion, are older than 3200 BC. In the beginning, Egyptologists didn't accept this, and they said no. And as if the Egyptian civilization was born big. They were not born as babies and then started to grow. No, as if were born like adults in 1 second. Okay.
Yeah.
So they denied the story, but a few years they accepted the story. What was the story? That there was what we call them pre-dynastic Egyptians.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they gave them the title culture Nakada in the south, culture Marmada in the north, culture Maadi, culture Fayoum, culture Gerza. Okay. And they gave a date for each culture. So we talk now about 9000 BC. So the oldest culture, which is Fayoum, and Fayoum has 3 phases: Fayoum A, Fayoum B, Fayoum C. So 9000 BC. Okay. So academics, because of so many evidences and so many objects were found, like jars, like primitive tools were found in these very old tombs. They eventually, including Flinders Petrie, they accepted and they started to do their own researches, and they started to do their own inputs, and they wrote many books and many papers about the pre-dynastic people. Then another group of archaeologists and geologists, okay, they found flint tools scattered outside Cairo in a place called Abbasiyah, east of Cairo, and in many sites at the south, especially the area above the Valley of the Kings. Okay. And by using their knowledge about flint and the flint tools and the Stone Age, so they start talking. I shall say something before this. They found a skeleton in a place called Kobbaneya. And when they examined the skeleton and they tested the skeleton with carbon-14, they found that the skeleton is 25,000 years old. Okay, so that is a new evidence that we had groups of people in Egypt, lived in Egypt at that time, 25,000 BC. And a similar evidence in a place between Egypt and Sudan called Jabal Sahaba, we found about 62 mummies, and the date of these mummies between 17,000 and 25,000 BC. Okay.
Can I just ask, so are you saying, wow, that mummification can go back up to 25,000 years?
Yes, but when I say mummy, I'm not talking about the great example of mummies. Let's say mummified crops. Okay. Because of the hot weather and the sand and the dry weather, so they became like a mummy. But it's not the perfect mummy. Okay.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yes, and then another group, I think Belgium University, they sent an expedition to Egypt, and they found another skeleton called Nazlet Khater, that place near Abydos. That skeleton is 35,000 BC.
Wow.
Okay. And the same, not the same team, but another team belonged also to this Belgium university. They discovered a skeleton of a child near Dendara, near Kena. Dendara, the temple of Hathor. And we call it Taramsa child. Actually, we found two, but one in terrible condition, and the second one is like 30-40% in good condition. Not perfect, but it's like 30-40%. But we can still see the details of the chest. Maybe the skull not in a good shape, but the rest of the body is fine. The skeleton, that skeleton for the Taramsa child is 55,000 BC.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I mean, just wow, the fact that a human skeleton can last that long. That is what I'm saying. Wow. Never mind. Obviously, I'm of my truth is I know it goes way, way, way back. But the fact, 55,000, would that be like the humidity and the dryness of Egypt or all of that would maintain that? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, the area where it was found is on the edge of the desert side. So the weather conditions are perfect to preserve the body or the skin.
Okay, please go on. Please go on.
Now we reached what time? 55,000 BC. And this is the date where we can say that this is the last or the oldest human was found. Okay, because when I continue, we are not going to talk about humans anymore, but we will talk about tools. So we found tools, and when we say tools, will be mostly from Flint. We found tools 100,000 BC.
Wow.
And then tools 250,000 BC. 300,000 BC. And the latest tools we found, or what I used to think, the latest, when I was writing my book and I get to that part, I put that information that the oldest tools we have in Egypt are 600,000 BC.
Wow.
Flint tools, 600,000 BC. And it's not me saying this. It is not. It is the geologist. Okay.
Yeah.
And by comparing the technique and the style with some techniques, we call it Acheulean industry and Chilean industry and Laplacian style. These are the names of the Flint industry and the Flint techniques. Okay.
Yeah.
So they estimated that the date of these tools is 600,000 BC. Okay.
Wow.
Let me tell you a quick story before I continue. 5 or 6 years ago, I was in an oasis called Siwa Oasis, far northwest of Egypt. Okay, close to Libya, from the north side. And me and my small group, we did a safari tour. We went very deep into the desert, and we went to a place, they call it the ocean. It is the bottom of an ancient ocean. And we saw the reef, and we saw the mushrooms and the fungus, and but the fun. Okay.
Because there used to be water there, didn't there, at one point? Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And then the Bedouin took us to a place where we have what we call a tafla. Tafla is natural mud or mud between the layers of limestone. Okay. And the tafla is a production, or it was made because of the different or between the times of ice ages. Okay, when we have an ice age and then melt and then warm and then cold, then that stone will be created, called tafla, or we can call it mud. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not the regular mud. Like it's like creamy mud, or like mud of limestone. Okay?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
And he pointed at some kind of feet prints, and he told me the German expedition. I think he did. I think they were the Belgian. Okay, but he thought they are German. He said that they told him, because he was part of the accompanied group, that these footprints are 2 million years old.
Wow.
So I told myself that is too much. Like, he is trying to impress me. Okay, he's trying to make the tour and the price of the tour worth it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But I took so many photos, and I didn't deny the whole story, but I expected that this is a kind of exaggerations. Like 2 million is too far. Okay. Until I went to the new Museum of Egypt, not the Grand Museum yet. It's called Civilization Museum. This is where they sent the mummies.
Yeah.
If you remember. Okay. And as soon you go inside the main, it's one big room. Okay. When you go to the entrance and then you cross through, you turn right, you will find that skeleton 35,000 BC called Nazlet Khater skeleton, with so many flint tools in rows above each other. Okay. So the first one is the newest one. And it says 50,000, then 150 to 300,000, 600,000, 1 million, and then 2.3 millions.
Wow.
So again, it's not me. It is the
geologists, the archaeologists, yeah.
Big flints, okay, with a sharp edge. It looks like an ancient or a primitive hammer.
Can I ask you something, Mohamed, please? Something's just come into my head. In the Egyptian history, when did the Egyptian people stop using flint for tools? When was that?
Look, that is a hard question. And to be honest with you, I'm not very sure when exactly, but my guessing during the pre-dynastic time.
Give me in thousands of years, roughly.
Let's say about 4,000 BC.
The reason I'm asking you is I'm looking at what happened to the evolution of man at 4,000 BC, because it seemed for a million of years it was flints all the way through, no advancement, no nothing. Then all of a sudden, boom. That's just what's come into my head now.
Exactly. Now let's come to my explanation.
Yeah.
And you asked a good question. Let's go back to the pre-dynastic, 9,000 BC. And then the dynasties, 3,200 BC. So if we use this as an example, so we will say that the very primitive people from zero level, they reached good civilization after 6,000 years. Okay. What about the skeleton 25,000 BC? Did they lived all this long time with flint only? They didn't develop.
What were they doing? Because it doesn't fit evolution, if you see what I'm saying.
And the 35,000 also flint, and the 55,000 also. So humans had to spend almost 2,280,000 years dealing with flint to develop suddenly. Like this.
Yeah, I mean that's what's coming in my head now when you were saying that. Because if you look now, just in humanity now, I'm not digressing. I'm using a comparison. It seems like I remember when I'm not that old, by the way, but I remember being a child. There was no mobile phones. There was no one on. There was and no one this, no one, none of this technology. But in for even 50 years, it's gone boom. But then before I was born, I would say about 100 years ago, you can see the evolution in advancement of tools, weapons. So that's why I'm asking the question. something doesn't feel right. That's all.
Exactly. And if you track our knowledge and our technology, you will find that the old days, let's say 1,000 years ago, they had
Mm-hmm.
also communication ways, even with pigeons, as an example.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so the idea of having cell phones, it is not new for
No.
us for the last 2,000 years, but it was developed from shape to another. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but if we go to the story I just mentioned, it says that for 2,300,000 years, humans were just using flint,
Right.
one type of knowledge, which is impossible to accept this story. They
Yeah.
must they must develop in any other way. But it is
Yeah.
ridiculous to believe that they spent 2 million years dealing with
Yes.
flint. Okay.
Yes. I agree. I totally agree. It just doesn't
Mm.
compute. The timeline is too long. It's just way
Exactly.
too long. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And by the way, I also I'm not a big fan of the story how human discovered fire. That is not correct. I don't
Yeah.
buy
Well,
that
I
story.
mean, Mohammed, I think we're all finding out in the last couple of years that a lot of the history that we've been told is actually not true.
Mhm.
So we're all finding that now. But I mean, but anyone who sort of says, "Oh no, you're a conspiracy theorist," no, no, you've got professional academia saying 55,000 years and on and on and on. They're
Mhm.
saying it, but it doesn't make sense that
Exactly.
humanity would take 2 million years and go
Mhm.
along with the Flint,
Mhm.
because there are um, architecture on the earth that are hundreds of thousand years old, still standing. Yeah. Well, they didn't make them with Flint, did they?
Ah,
I don't think
but
so.
look, here is the problem that we classify flint as primitive tool. But if we
Hmm.
look carefully to the flint industry, we will understand something very, very important. And by the way, I was trying to find a book written by an Egyptian doctor more than 70 years ago. Okay.
Hmm.
And I was lucky to find the book.
Hmm.
See, a very old book. See, this the stone tools of ancient Egypt.
Hmm.
Okay. I want to show you something interesting. Okay. So the man is trying to show us the different types of tools. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've seen
And
Flint tools
by,
before. Yeah.
by by checking these different shapes, I realized something maybe crazy, but I love being crazy sometimes.
Yeah. So do I. I love being crazy.
As
Yeah.
if who made these flint tools is copying or imitating an actual tool, but because he
Yeah.
doesn't have the way to make that tool from iron, so he made it on flint.
Wow. I've never thought of that. That's a possibility. I like that theory. Go with
because
it. Yeah.
because if you Google the flint industry, you will find that one of the titles is saying microlithic tools.
Hmm.
They invented or they made very small tools. Okay, so why they made very small tools? And because to make a small tool from flint, it will take time, and you can waste thousands of
Yeah. Yeah.
flint.
Yeah.
Okay, but in my opinion, they needed those small tools like what we use it nowadays as small knives or for surgeries or to skin the when they have an animal and they want to remove the
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, if I can use this word, what we can call it now, nanotechnology.
Yeah. I'm with you. Hold on. Let me just hold on a second. So did I misunderstand you? Are you saying that the tools that was in that book, that a man at the time, and women, of course,
Yes.
man at the time was trying to mimic a technology that had been before, that had gone? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, I'm still, now I promised you no hard questions, but I lied. You know I break my promise. You said I could break my promise a couple of times. So here's the first one. This technology that man's trying to mimic, because I'm coming, there's this theory that's hovering with me, that we're going in cycles. We get up there, and then we're wiped out, and we get up there, and then we're wiped out. So this technology could be an advanced as what we have today, or something like that, and it was wiped out. What do you think? Or no?
Yes, nowadays, or even better.
Yeah. Now that, fascinates me, because that's been recent. I had a show, last couple of shows this week, I've been touching on this subject, saying something's telling me it's a cycle and it's wiped out, and we're not going down, we're dipping, we're forgetting, but we're going up at the same time. And that would explain when we find through archaeology and all that, when we find these places that are made with even tools that we can't even imagine today or do today. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that's cool. I like that. Keep going.
Okay, so now let me tell you the story from the beginning now.
Okay, go on.
The first human, in my opinion, and my opinion is based on many sources, including the Islamic teaching. Okay, in the Quran it says, when God created Adam, he taught Adam the names, listen carefully, for everything. So I understand everything as everything.
Okay.
Because it says it didn't say everything in his time, or everything in certain, it's just everything. So my opinion, that the first human was superhuman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What we call it, golden age.
Yeah.
So human didn't start from zero and develop. No, they started from the top.
The top. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of the first cycle, or what we can call it, the first great year.
Yeah. Okay.
And by the way, the ancient Egyptians believe that we have 5 major cycles, and they are coming after each other, one after the other. And we just finished 9 years ago, 2012, we finished the last cycle of the 5, the cycle of Am, cycle of darkness. And now we are in the new cycle of Khibr, the scarab.
The scarab. My friend.
Okay. So golden age, but it seemed that the cycle has certain conditions and rules. That the first half of the cycle is evolution, is spirituality. The second half of the cycle, devolution. Not necessarily losing technology, but losing humanity and spirituality. And nature will not be happy with this, because when human lose their spirituality and lose the system, the ma'at, they treat nature in a bad way, like what we are doing nowadays. So nature will try to fix itself. Okay. So disasters can happen, floods, solar flares, earthquakes, electromagnetic pulsing from the sun. So in 1 second, this civilization can wiped out, as you said, disappear.
Yeah.
And few humans will survive. And that is the story of the caveman. So the caveman is not the beginning. No, the caveman is a new beginning. No. So the survivors found that they don't have the ability to make iron tools or steel or plastic or anything. What they had is flint and other types of stones like granite, like obsidian, like
Yeah.
seashell sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
And then slowly they created a civilization, and it went up to the top again. And then the second half of the second cycle, the evolution, and then disaster, and then new beginning, and then evolution. So every time, so all the dates and the different Flint industries, they are not one after the other. No, it is they existed, or these Flint tools existed after each disaster as a new beginning.
What that's coming in my head now is like, if you look at humanity at the moment, yeah, it relies so heavily. Everything's on internet, Wi-Fi. Everything's controlled. Your job, your food, every aspect of a human's life now is on the electronics, or the AI, so to speak.
Right.
We only need a solar flare, yeah, to hit every satellite, everything we got up there, wipe it out, and then we got to go back to writing letters again and going on horses to deliver. That, I mean, I so get that. That's what would happen. Then maybe if the ones that had the creators who created all these things survived, then there'd be a good chance, you know what I mean? But you can imagine we'd all be going around and go, how do you make a mobile phone? How do you see what I'm saying? So with the hidden history, we know that with the history we've been all told is just not the truth. But as the hidden history is coming out, and where I keep seeing this repeated cycle of, like, I don't want to talk about who built the pyramids. I mean, everyone does that, but look at the whole of just ancient Egypt all the way through. I mean, and it would have occurred all over the earth, obviously. It just shows how you peak, you create these amazing structures, Göbekli Tepe and all of it, all around the world, and the Mayan temples, the Bosnian pyramid, everywhere you want to go, yeah? And then it's gone. It's totally gone. And then you're back to Flint's again. I mean, I don't think we'll get back to Flint's. However, we'd be mining with hammers to get the ore out of the earth back to maybe, I don't know, Victorian time or something. It makes sense, Mohamed, what you're saying. It makes sense.
Let me give you a scenario, but I will not use the reason solar flare, because sometimes or solar flare, it is very, very hard disaster and can destroy the whole earth.
Yeah.
All what can happen is electromagnetic waves.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you said, we live in the time of technology. So our electronics will die in 1 second.
In 1 second. Yeah.
Yes. No electronics, no engines also.
No.
Okay. So not only the computers and also engines. All the engines will stop working. Okay, no electricity, everything will die.
Yeah.
So what will happen to humanity? I am not a farmer, and most of us are not farmers. We're
not farmers.
we don't know how to produce food, or so we will eat what we have, and within 1 year we will starve to death.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't want to be give a bad image. People will start eating each other, killing each other. So my guessing that after 1 or 2 years, humanity will lose like 90% of the population. Okay, and the 10% will suffer, and they will fight on the last resources. Okay, and within 5 years, maximum 10 years, we will go back to zero again. And by time, let's say 10,000 years or 20,000 years, all our buildings and technology will deteriorate.
Unless, now hold on, Mohamed, I'm my truth is optimism. For me, the cycle's finished. Sorry about that, guys. To me, because we are now we're at this point. Well, I can't say that after what you said, but to me, the cycle is finished because, and I'd like the Islamic, from your perspective, true. If we go on that God made Adam as the first superhuman being, and all these cycles are coming along, there's got to be a way home. It has to end at some point, Mohamed. It can't keep repeating the cycle. So I know it's another sort of not difficult question, but it's got to be, from your perspective, is this going to go on for eternity? From your truth, that is.
Yes, and if I use the ancient Egyptian perspective and the Islamic perspective also, that humans are going to have the cycles repeated forever. But because our souls are going to continue another life after death. Okay.
So it won't be us coming back. Because I'm not coming back, Mohamed. No. I'm not doing it again.
We are going to a different dimension.
I'm off. I'm telling you, I'm off there. Because being this human being I've had enough playing the role, and I don't want to do it no more. It's fun, yes, but anyway. Yes. Come back to where if you can remember, bless you, I took you way off. Where are we now in your conversation?
To prove what I'm saying, we have a story, we call it the destruction of mankind, ancient Egyptian story. Okay. The story, quickly, it said that the sun god, okay, which I don't call it God, but the story said that the sun god Ra felt angry because humans are no longer respecting him. Okay. It is not respect for the sun. Remember when I said mankind misbehave with nature. So the sun god felt angry with the humans. So he ordered Sekhmet to go and hunt them. Okay, hunt the humans down. And Sekhmet, because she is the fierce hunter, she is the heat waves of the sun, she obeyed the order and she started to kill humans. Before she managed to finish all humans, the sun changed its mind and started to call Sekhmet, stop, but Sekhmet didn't listen. So they prepared some tricks like a wine lake to make her feel unconscious. Okay, eventually a few groups of humans managed to survive after that disaster. Okay, so this is a very clear evidence was left for us from the ancient Egyptian times that they were talking about the end of days, but not the final end. It is the end of the cycle, as we keep saying.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. Because many people, I remember 2012, and I never believed it in the Mayan calendar. And people said, no, there was people out on the streets with placards. Do you know what I mean? And I saw that, and I didn't research it, but I did a lot of studying of it. And I saw it as a new cycle, 2012, a shift in humanity. And that's what I saw it as. And you can't deny, if you're here on this earth playing the role of the human being, you can't just look at love and light and not look at anything else. It's ridiculous, because you're here to experience the polarity. Here, you've got to experience it. The dark, the light, the good or the bad, whatever you want to call it. And so I've looked at the cycles for many, and studying ancient civilizations, not just Egypt. And you say, wow. But that, you say, is it coming to us? But then by just looking at that, if we step away, it's going to happen again. Of course, it's going to happen again at some point. But for me, it was looking at, so I'll get this right in a minute, by looking at alternative history like yourself, it allowed me to recognized the cycles, recognized that man wasn't just born like 3,500 years ago with technology and could go off according to the Egyptian government and build a pyramid or something like that, whatever, Trevor. So all of this has allowed me to look at that. And sometimes I think, oh, wow, we're all going to be annihilated. But for me, no, I'm going to go somewhere else because it doesn't end. And that's my truth, guys. That's for me. I'm here having the experience and I'm off. I've done my bit. I don't know what will happen to others that have lost their spirituality. I don't know. We're witnessing now those that really don't have any spirituality at all, none, zilch, and just live in fear. I can quite see the cycle is repeating itself and a split is coming. I mean, for me, I'm in one timeline. I call it timelines or dimensions, whatever you want. It's like I'm in another one already as I've come out, and they're on that one. And you can see it. It's not doom and gloom. Everyone has a free choice what they choose to do. But I'm definitely not staying here, Mohamed. Just thought you'd know that. All right, I'm off.
Okay. So exactly as you said, that 5 cycles. The first cycle, Kibr, dawn time, before sunrise, including sunrise. The second cycle, we call it Ra cycle, the morning, like 8 o'clock in the morning. And the third cycle is Atom, noon, which is the perfect cycle, or let's say when humans reaches power and wisdom. So the first one is baby light. The second one, teenager. Okay. The third one, adult, power plus wisdom. The fourth one, ego, atom. This is the afternoon, extreme knowledge and power, but ego comes with this. Okay. And this is the cycle of Akhenaten. When we have the
Akhenaten, do go on. Yeah.
Okay, quickly. When they talk about Akhenaten, they call him as a philosopher, as a man of religion. He made the first revolution against the Amun religion. No, Akhenaten was a wise man. He was somehow had the knowledge of the previous cycles, and that's why he didn't feel comfortable living with the cycle of Amun. And Amun is the fifth cycle, the cycle of sunset, cycle of darkness. Okay, so he didn't feel happy living in that cycle. He wanted to change the cycle. So he said, I will follow Aton, cycle number 4. Okay. And he tried to apply the rules of the cycle, but he couldn't go against the system. The system was applying the cycle number 5. He was trying to do his best to change it, but he couldn't. Okay. That's why he left Luxor. He left everything related to Amun-Ra. He went to Amarna. He established new laws, new system. But right away after his death, humans or the Egyptians went back to the Amun cycle.
Is it true? Can I just interject there? Is it true? What my understanding of him, prior to Akhenaten, the Egyptians worshipped multiple gods. When he come in, he said, no, one God. Is that true?
No, this is true. This is true for the mainstream stories, but that is not correct. If you and I show this to my groups when we go to the Egyptian museum. He kept Horus. Okay, he kept Hathor. He kept many. He kept Habi. I will give you a secret. Not many people know this. Why the strange shape of the body of Akhenaten?
Don't know.
Because if you look to a god or a knitter, And I hope people understand that the word Neter, which explained mistakenly as God, it is not God. Neter is the origin of nature. Okay. So when you look to Neter Habi, the Neter of the Nile, or he is the fertility of the Nile, you will find that the body of Habi is the same body of Akhenaten. But because Akhenaten called himself Enoch Habi, I am Habi, so he took the shape of his body.
I'm with you, because he had that sort of like big belly, and he was like,
exactly,
not like a fit man.
That is Habi, 100%. Okay, he is copying Habi, the fertility of Habi.
Wow.
But unfortunately, many people don't understand this, including academics. Okay, like if I claim myself Native American, I must do some of their art or their makeup.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. So Akhenaten gave himself the title Habi. So he made himself to look like Habi. Okay.
And explain for the audience again, one more time, what does Habi mean, the definition?
Habi is the fertility of the Nile, or the power of the Nile. Or in some cases, we can call him the Nile himself.
The Nile.
Yes.
The power of the Nile. You will
always see him with a man with heavy breast, but in a male shape, with big belly, with big size. Okay?
Yeah.
Which is exactly the same like Akhenaten features.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So Akhenaten didn't deny what we call them gods. No, he kept most of them. He denied Amun-Ra, okay, and denied Osiris. Only the two of them. Why? Because those are the main Neters connected with the fifth cycle. Okay, that's why. And by the way, let me also give you another great example. There was a king called Ai. Okay, that king was right after Tutankhamun. He was a high priest in the beginning. Okay, Ai was the high priest of Aton during the time of Akhenaten. Guess what? That he was the high priest of Ammon before Akhenaten. And then became the high priest of Aton, and then the high priest of Ammon once more.
Wow.
Okay, so if Akhenaten denied the religion, he will not depend on the priest of that religion. But it is not religion; it's a cycle.
I'm with you. That's well, that's logic. Yeah. He wouldn't. Yeah, he wouldn't have that priest. He wouldn't know. I see. I didn't know that. You see. Yeah. Keep going, Mohamed.
Because that cycle for many people is not good cycle, because you cannot see in a good way in dark, right? Okay. Like, and I always use this example. If one action or one thing happened in front of 100 people, you will have 100 stories.
Yeah.
But during the cycle of light, that action will happen in front of 1,000, 1 million people. You will have one story, because all of them will see it in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay. So Akhenaten didn't like this cycle because of many reasons. That's one of the reasons. He didn't like to live in dark. Okay.
None of us like to live in the dark, love. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I got to give him that. I mean, what happened to Akhenaten?
My guessing that nothing happened to him. He died naturally. Okay.
He's never been found. Has he never been found?
Exactly. So this was, in my opinion, natural. Okay. But the treatment of his memory was bad.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah.
Amun-Ra priest didn't attack him while he was alive. No, he attacked him after his death. Yeah. Exactly. He didn't get a proper burial. He didn't, in my opinion, his body was hidden somewhere. Okay. Even the coffin we found with the fancy decoration, without the face, without the name, that could belong to Akhenaten. So they had to take off the face and the name to prevent him from doing the second life, from going to the second life.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah.
As a kind of a punishment that he dared to challenge the cycle.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Wasn't his son Tutankhamun?
We used to think that he was a younger brother, okay, but now we think he is a son from a second wife, not Nefertiti, another wife.
Okay. Anyway, enough. And that was for me. Thank you so much, Mohamed. I mean, I love just to hear the history and to get alternative perspectives on things. I've got to ask you this question. What cycle are we in now again?
We are now back to cycle 1, Kibr.
Which is?
Kibr, the dawn time. The moment before sunrise.
The good time. So the good time, Mohamed.
Exactly. So in my opinion, like maybe 20 or 50 years later, it will be the moment of sunrise. So we are now that moment before sunrise, but it is clear sky. There is no sun yet, but the sky have light.
Yeah, I'm with you. But it's like others saying we're in the, you know, whether it's astrology and everything else, the age of Aquarius, you know, the best age, we are in it now. Not that you may think so, but we are actually spiritually, we really are in that. I do feel that. I'm a very optimistic person. So, Mohamed, you know, where does this introduction go to about ancient Egyptian history? What other things can you tell us before we end the show? Anything else exciting? Updates, Mohamed, updates.
Yes. So with the knowledge of the very ancient humans, they understood something very important, that the brain power of humans are not going to last as the same after each disaster. Okay, because of one main reason. If the humans to survive, they must, especially if there's a disaster from the sky, like from the sun, the atmosphere is polluted, they must go and hide under the ground, underground tunnels and caves. That's why we have in Egypt thousands of tunnels and underground shafts. We have in Turkey, we have in many places all around the world. Okay. It is under the ground. Why? To hide from these disasters. Okay. But they can hide, especially, and I need to tell you also some good fact that most of these, if not all of these tunnels, are made into the limestone bedrock. And limestone is a very good filter for toxics, for pollution. So it is good environment. When they hide under the ground, they will be disconnected with the sun. But the sun, maybe the sun was the main reason for the disaster, but the sun still important to humanity, especially to the human intelligence, to the pineal gland. To be disconnected from the sun, your pineal gland will start to be dry.
Shrink.
And yes, and the normal pineal gland producing a kind of liquid, okay, or what I call it, the juicy pineal gland, it makes you smarter. Okay. Or you connect with the sun, your bones will be in good shape, or your pineal gland. So the first generation will hide under the ground, will not feel any problem. But when they have birth under the ground, the second generation will start losing percentage of the brain power. And the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and then the disaster will finish, and the human will go outside connected with the sun and come back or they will be connected, and their brain power will come back to its usual power, but not the same So from 100, it will be 80%. And,
Oh,
and later from 80 to 70.
I can hear music, Mohammed. Stop now. Is that your phone? Naughty Mohammed.
Okay. So every
Yeah.
disaster, they hide and then
Mhm.
they come outside, but not with the same percentage at like the beginning. Every time they lose,
Yeah.
like I'm
Yeah.
not sure how much, but 5%, 10%.
Yeah.
Do you know, according to our scientists, our brain power we are using now 13%. We
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
87%.
Yeah, I mean, you think about, I mean, all of it just, we're doing theories here for me, is, it makes sense now. And all the, what we find with ancient civilizations, Egypt, everywhere, the knowledge you just spoke about today, they carved it in stone. They've left this message for future generations of humanity. This is coming. This is coming. This
Exactly.
happened. You need to connect to nature. You need to be kind, to considerate. You need, and all through, all the history that we can find, all the way back, yeah, is saying the same thing. What you've just spoke about, and in Egypt, it's saying it's exactly the same thing. The good thing is, Mohammed, we are in the good cycle now. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's quite obvious that we're not going to be around in the next one. I'm happy. With all your work, Mohammed, before we close today, it's just been fascinating listening to you. I love it. With all your work, research you do and everything, what one thing out of everything you've done has really sort of blown you away? I can't believe it. Wow. One of those moments. Give me one of all your journeys in Egypt. Give me one.
Okay, I will. One day I had a tour, 2017. I will never forget that experience. And I had big group, 180 people.
Yeah.
So we made a private visit for Giza Plateau for the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was very busy with the details and checking everything. So I was moving between the three pyramids to check that everything is okay, sending this group there and that group there. So going
Yeah.
inside the Great Pyramid, coming out, walking to the second pyramid, inside, and then out to the third pyramid. So I kept doing this for more than 10 hours.
Yeah.
Okay? I felt nothing. I was like very busy with business and was leading the tour. But when I finished and went home, and I I heard so many people talking about what I'm going to say, but my mind was not ready to understand this, which we call it the out of body experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So I came home and I wasn't tired because I can do this all the time.
Yeah.
So I was not tired. But when I started to sleep, um, I couldn't sleep. And then I realized that, or I felt that I am not feeling the bed, as
Mm-hmm.
if I was floating.
Yeah.
Okay. And I didn't see the ceiling. And as
Mm-hmm.
I was like in open space.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to touch the what is under my body, like if it is a bed or what. Okay.
Yeah.
I felt nothing, like exactly floating on air.
Yeah.
Okay. So I told myself, I'm dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I'm not that guy who had lots of dreams. Like I have a dream every year, maybe every 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I was staring, and I feel sad that I couldn't use the chance to know what is happening because my mind was struggling. Is it a
Yeah.
dream or true? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But after I don't know how I say, if I woke up or after this phenomenon finished, it was 5 hours.
Wow.
But my real feeling was like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Missing
Okay.
time, Mohamed.
Yeah. So this is one of the very special things happened to me.
That's beautiful. My truth is, I can understand why the energy from the three pyramids,
Mhm.
that experience, that, absolute, I can understand that. And the longest missing time I've got is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 3 or 4 hours when I was
Mhm.
younger. Totally, yeah. For me, it was like a couple of minutes, but it was, the longest I've had. Wow, and in Egypt as well. I mean, ooh, Mohammed, how exciting. You can't recall what happened to you in the 5 hours at all, nothing.
Look, I believe I'm gonna do this type of tour again, but this
Yeah.
time I will be ready.
This time you're going to be ready. I know what's happening. I want to see where I'm going, because there's this woman in England called Gloria. She's going to ask me, because I'm going to ask you after the next tour, Mohammed.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you, get on my show and tell me what happened in the missing time.
Yeah.
Mohammed, it's been an absolutely fascinating show for me. All things Egypt. I love Egypt for some unknown reason. And I thank you so much for making the time. I know you're busy. And in a couple of months' time, I'm going to get you back on, especially once you do the next tour. So you can advertise yourself. Is there websites or anything, or talk about your book when it comes out, where would be able to get it, or any up and coming tours, Mohammed?
Yes, my website is now sabatours.net. And the word Saba means Stargate, by the way, the ancient Egyptian language. Saba,
Yeah.
SABA, sabatours.net. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And same name at Facebook, Saba Tours as a page. Okay. And you can always find me under the name Guide of Egypt.
Guide of
Okay.
Egypt. Yeah.
Facebook or Google or anywhere, Guide of Egypt, Mohamed Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Thank you so much. And thank you for those that watch this live or that's going to watch this on a replay. I'm sorry we were 2 hours late, but it couldn't be helped. It's the way things go. And till the next time, Open Minds, it's bye from Gloria and it's bye from Mohammed. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If I can get out of here.